Well, really, I'm a product of RMIT University. I went to RMIT in the School of Art and did the gold and silversmithing program. And from there, from doing that program, my knowledge and my inquiry about the goldsmith, the historical goldsmith and the possible applications in a contemporary context has been my main consideration. I came into archaeometallurgy because I was interested in processes of the ancient goldsmiths. Now, this is very complex gold manufacture, and that intricacy and complexity really captivated me and drew me into a sort of a scholarship in that domain. So my research in that archaeometallurgy was to select pieces from the Greek and Roman collection, mainly at the Metropolitan Museum, the most complex pieces, and then to really deconstruct them. Now, this research was really the testing of the theories of manufacture of that age, the technology. And so to make copies, to make authentic copies, requires one to use the known methodologies of that era. It's no use applying modern processes to make something ancient. And this is important for the museum because there is a fundamental question, I think, and this is what I've taken up and applied in various narratives with fictitious jewellery. And the fundamental question is it important to have an authentic material cultural history? And so the things that we see in museums, is it important that they're authentic? Now, I believe that they are, but I think this question of authenticity is a fun thing that you can play with.
I think Robert's an extraordinary jeweller because he makes things that are based in that practice but so other than jewellery in a way, and they bring together. I think one of the things that really appeals to me is there's a true perversity in the work. Robert has a quite extraordinary and wicked sense of humour, and that's always at play in works that are deeply embedded in history and his incredible technical mastery, but it's always tweaked in some way. So, you know, gold is powder coated red, or so that notion of preciousness and all of those associations with wealth and snobbery and a hierarchy of medium and materials are always turned on its head. But they're done with such exquisite beauty and always with technical mastery at the fore. So he brings all of those things together in quite an extraordinary way.
It gave me a vantage point to make pieces that are authentic and yet somehow they're subverted. And the subversion that I made in pieces was by the inclusion of red. Now, red is an impediment to that orthodoxy of authentication. So in the entropy of red, there is the trumpet, that's at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And the second piece was the crown, which I made, all of wire. And the crown is structurally very fine, but it's more of a spatial thing. And I like this sort of binary condition of matter and space. Now, the third piece, which was a very important piece for me with this new wire construction work, was the table. It was really like a sacrificial table, but it was a vehicle for me to make some sort of stupendous wire structure in silver wire. So what I wanted to build were wire structures that had a geometry, had a structural potential that I could make these large things. And so the table was an expression of that.
I think one of the nicest things about putting Robert's work on display in a gallery context is they always sort of inspire a sense of wonder in the viewer. They're quite fantastical in a way. And while they may be candelabra or crowns, or they may have a basis in a functional object, they really push that, and there's a sense of the magical or fairy stories or possibilities in them, and that's quite transfixing for an audience. I think they take people to places that they may not necessarily go in their everyday lives.